welcome back to the Walking Dead support group, ladies and gentlemen, from another snooze fest from this half of the season. I'm Alex Mann, to my left, Jason McCarthy, to my right, Keith O'Brien. We're going to try and make something out of this episode, because this was a dragger.
How was everybody's nap?
Yeah, that was a snooze fest for an hour. As we always do, we go for the kill count. Keith, kill count for us.
7.
7. That was just horrible.
Horrible.
Jason's going to go through a list of all some of our newer followers and some of the people on Twitter and Facebook, and then we're going to get right into the show. Take it away, Jason.
All right. Usual quick hello to fans from Twitter and Facebook. From Facebook first, we have Megan Drake, Lisa Griffin, Christy Ingram, Tracy Riggins, Tina Cargile, Gail Simpson, Mary Edgar, and Tracy Howard. Some of the new followers on Twitter.
This is an older new list.
A Walking Dead Bear, Austin Cleifus. Forgive me if I said that wrong. I'm sure I did. And I'm definitely going to say this wrong. 4th.
4?
Yaz Gear.
Yep.
Neil Cohen, Elijah Cleifus, Katie Walker, Elizabeth, and just Patty.
And that's why we make Jason read the names, because it's fun to watch.
That was more entertaining than the show.
Yeah, that was actually, we got more laughs out of that than we did the show tonight. All right, so let's get into tonight's episode. It was called Still. That's how it was. It really didn't move.
Wow.
We're still wondering when it's going to advance. We're still kind of bored with these one storylines kind of going on. We're supposed to be faced with the day-to-day survival. Beth and Daryl were kind of showing their survival skills and how they were getting through. But it was, it did say it was an enlightening moment. And let's be honest, there were the tension for Daryl and Beth built up to the point where we got to see some of that inside. For a character that had no involvement in the comic book, they gave you a lot of good background about him today. I'm sure there's going to be, some of the ladies will be happy that we got background info on Daryl, but realistically, it just dragged. And you know what they did to us in one episode with Daryl that took 4 episodes for the governor, as far as I can tell. But, it is what it is. Keith, what was your take of tonight's episode? And we know we're all kind of bored with it, but...
Well, it's another one of those episodes where, we talked about it a couple weeks ago leading up to this, that they're just filling it up with past storylines and storylines of 1 or 2 characters or a group. And it's just, I don't know. It's bad production, in my take.
Let me ask you this, just as a quick thought. Do you think that what they're doing is they're trying to get into season 5 and get us there slowly and throw some stuff at us? I think technically, with the storyline tonight, we could have seen that quicker breakdown of Daryl after the moonshine, where he was talking about he could have done more, he could have saved a few people, and then he started talking about Herschel, and then that was a really sweet moment with him and Beth, but it took us forever to get there. I mean, I think if we just we're a little faster in getting to those, I think we'd all be kind of happy. Jay, what do you think?
I agree with Keith. To a point, it's a lot of backstopping. They're just trying to fill in the blanks. Like you said, slowly get to season 5. I think they wanted to see, that bond between Daryl and Beth.
Right.
And all this started because Beth wanted a drink.
Yeah.
And
when you think about it, we've complained about some of the foods they've eaten, not having, going beyond their shelf life. I'm going to go out with on a limb. Alcohol probably does not have the shelf life that we're worried about in this timeline.
No.
So, but, it was one of those things where you're kind of like, oh, can we speed this up?
yeah.
We had a new location, a golf course. Nobody but me was making Caddyshack jokes. I'm very disappointed. I was putting up pictures of Judge Smales. I mean, tell me the guy that Beth whacked in the.
He looked a little bit like him.
Looked a lot like Judge Smales.
Looked a lot like him.
But anyways, it is what it is.
But it looked like one of the things I noticed was that the country club looked to be like some kind of camp or some kind of group.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
everybody's dead.
Right.
And we've got 3 people that hung themselves. Obviously, you know, the last three people of this group. It's almost like it's a group of people that don't know what's going. You know, they know they're obviously in the zombie apocalypse, but they don't know what goes on. They don't know that people die.
Right.
I mean, if they had a bad camp and they had the same problem the prison had, they didn't have a veterinarian and didn't have meds to solve. People get sick, people die, and all of a sudden you got walkers. You know, you got walkers in the wire. You know, walkers in the 19th hole.
Right.
And the woman in the pro shop with the colorful name tag.
Yes, exactly.
She seemed like more like she was hung as compared to hung herself.
But it's like, but three people gave themselves up. They hung themselves, and they were still a lot. You know, now they're walkers or swingers.
Hangers.
Swingers.
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 It's that kind of a country club.
Yeah. Well, you know, we do look for new ways for them to kind of get whacked. We were all happy when Daryl broke out the 9-iron and started swinging. And pretty much it was a universal. Everybody was saying 4 between Facebook and Twitter.
Yeah.
So that was kind of a collective.
That's an easy one.
You know, that was pretty good. But it was obvious that it was a camp, and obviously it was a failed camp. And the question is, how many of those are we going to see throughout this whole thing? I mean, I would like to start running into.
It's a camp of 1%ers, and they couldn't take care of themselves.
Right.
And that's a great point.
They didn't have any little.
This was not a group of people who were meant for survival.
Right.
You know, these were people in the apocalypse. You know, they are cannon fodder. They're bait.
Yeah.
You know, and that's not
You know, what do? They hunker down. You know, I mean, it
of
could
all
be
places to bunker down to the function hall for the country club.
Yeah, they're bunkering down in Bushwood.
That's
you know?
bunkering down in Bushwood.
You know, there you go. There's your Caddyshack reference.
Also, poor taste of liquor. So
Yeah.
I just had to throw that out.
Well, it's all gone.
Yeah, we'll get into that too.
It's all gone.
We'll definitely get into that tonight. Not a lot of kills to choose from, so let's move into our favorite kill category. You know, I think we can collectively all kind of go with 4.
Tee
I'm gonna go
off.
with 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was it.
Teed off on his
He
face.
teed off on the head. And he kind of teed off, you know, it goes with the whole episode. You know, in the end, Daryl's, you know, they're playing the little drinking game and they're all telling the tales. And Daryl's saying, like, I could have killed the governor. You know, I could have, you know, she's like, I wish my dad was around. And, I mean, he was whacking at that walker for a while.
Yeah.
I mean, he was beating on him.
Yeah.
And then it's not like Daryl doesn't know how to kill him. Or
Yeah, that
finish
thing
him
was
off.
down and done.
You know, he is banging away at it, and then 4, you know, 9-iron across the floor, across the ground.
But it's and apparently
The
room likes
control
this.
room.
Yes.
The kill
For
was
those of you who
governor
don't
ass.
know, we've got BJ Foley, a regular stand-in, Vinny DiGiacomo in there, talking up a storm about some of their favorite kills, I guess.
But it's still more exciting than the show.
Yeah,
believe me.
unfortunately. In fact, we've probably killed more people tonight than the show did. So, favorite line of the night for me, it was maybe I could have done something. It said a lot about Daryl. I think we learned. For as much as it dragged on, I did like getting the backstory to Daryl, like his childhood. That scene between him and Beth, where she said, "You ever been to prison?" Maybe as a prison guard. Like it was like you could almost hear the crickets in the background. Like, oh, this is getting awkward. And you know what? Why would you tick off the redneck drinking moonshine with a crossbow?
Because she doesn't know any better.
Obviously. You know? But to me, that was a great line because it said a lot about Daryl. Where he is. He has not talked a lot. His lines have been very minimal. This is the most we've seen him talk since they left the prison.
Yep.
And realistically, he did get a lot off his chest, and he's kind of that typical tough guy, and he's not going to talk. But eventually, he did, and you started seeing why he had shut down that way. Jason, what was your favorite line of the night?
I actually chose one that kind of was along the same lines, Beth bringing Daryl back to earth. Just her trying to be cute. And when she came up with, unless you're too busy chaperoning Mr. Dixon.
Yes.
And like you said, when watching it, that's the first time he's ever heard that in his life.
That was pretty good. And Keith, what about you? What was your favorite line?
I liked in the beginning when Beth walked off. It's the second time that in this storyline with this second half of the season that she's walked off on Daryl. You know, she's kind of like trampled away. And she wrote, you know, enjoy your snake jerky.
Yeah, it was a good one.
You know, and I did like that. And this time she was, you know, this time she did take care of herself. She threw a rock, distracted a few. And then, she was getting ready to kill the other walker, but the other walker, line of the night over there from Vinny DiGiacomo, the Barack Walker, Gotta give it to him. It was a good line. He walked in the other direction too, because that's what he does. Cry. How did see? And he,
So I know we're going to.
He wasn't at the country club, was he?
Yeah.
No, folks, he
We're
wasn't.
definitely going to struggle for this next part.
It's
that we like to do.
Georgia,
Is our favorite moment from tonight's show. We're all in agreement this was not the best episode so far. Certainly had the backdrop to Daryl stuff, and we got a lot out of Beth. But did anyone have like a real favorite moment from this show? Or?
Yeah, the ending credits. So we can move into this, and we can get the previews for next week.
I think this is the
we get
most
home.
all three of us have agreed on anything with the show. We are just literally kicking it tonight.
But you know what? I mean, it's again, like you said, they're just trying to get to the next season. We already know they're signed, so this is a filler fest.
Yeah.
We know there's going to be. Oh, in case you haven't watched any TV programs or The Walking Dead, here's how it ends, folks. A couple more episodes of this crap. Can I say crap?
Sure.
Too late.
Too late. Yeah.
Yeah. A couple more episodes of this, and then we're going to have a cliffhanger. Google it.
Yeah.
I mean, come on already. So they're already set up for it. It's like they had that scene where the barn was burning and Beth's walking away, and everybody's like, "Oh, geez, I can't wait." Online, can't wait for Beth to burn down the barn. I'm like, wow, that was exciting.
I actually did have a favorite moment in this show, and that was the cabin fire when they lit it on fire and they turned around and flipped it off on the way back.
Yeah.
That was.
That's really a throwback to Merle. Merle was the one who started the whole flipping off, and he does that mostly in like fan pictures and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And then it was Norman Reedus who kind of picked up along with that too when they do group pictures together. So I thought that was kind of interesting. But for me, that favorite moment is back when she said, "Let's burn it." I went, "Oh, she's a Carol."
Carol, yeah.
She's a Carol Scout. For those of you who don't know what a Carol Scout is. That was a little joke that we started about the little Lizzie Borden girl and her sister, acting all of a sudden like Carol was their den leader and how to kill everything, and it was great. So we call them Carol Scouts. So welcome to the support group for that. For next week's episode, we know there's got to be action. Like we've seen too much downtime, not enough kills, so we know it's got to be next week. And if not, what are we going to do? Because we've got Undead Randy coming into next week, so there's a plug to him. He's going to come in. He's involved with a charity that raises money for, I think it's for kids. He's involved in the Stalker Cons. He's a local guy from Boston. He's a blogger. He's on Twitter. So I really hope he's got some interesting stuff, because even Cynthia said last week, she goes, "That wasn't a great episode." So we're struggling. So we kind of need.
Can we play Beth's drinking game?
I think we should. If that's what happens next week, we're playing Beth's drinking game. And that was a comment somebody did. I think it was Zombie Reporter had brought up, would you start drinking during the zombie apocalypse? Would you inebriate yourself during this time frame? And you know what? We say now we wouldn't, but you know what? If you can secure yourself on a spot and everything else you've seen, I think I'm going to want to drink. And maybe at least once.
Couple of times. I mean, they went out drinking in when after the barn incident. Herschel had to go have a drink.
Right.
And
we found out Herschel got arrested.
And we found out Herschel got arrested.
Herschel's got a bigger criminal record than Daryl.
He got PC'd. Who hasn't?
I've PC'd people.
Either, actually, yeah.
Yeah, I know. Thank you. But I mean, why is Beth all of a sudden infatuated with getting a drink? I mean, it was a weird segment.
To be honest with you, I think. One, it's one of those things she doesn't need to.
She doesn't know how to drown.
Why not at this point?
Well, that's true too.
This has got to be. I think this has got to be Kirk. Horrible waste of moonshine. Those three didn't drink the Kool-Aid. It was. All in all, it was a tough night. Although I really did when they broke out the moonshine. I wanted to see Tickle from the Moonshiner Show kind of walk through, going, "Hey, everybody!"
That was a good line.
We actually had more good lines in there with ourselves talking about this show than they did.
Actually, did on the show.
Yeah, it was bad.
Wasn't pretty.
So, all right, hopes and expectations other than a lot of action. Who do we want to see in next week's episode more of?
I want to see a family reunion. I want to see everybody get back together. I want to see this something start to take off because, it's getting boring a little bit.
Yeah.
You know?
Keith, what are you thinking for next week?
I'm kind of hoping we find out what's at the end of the railroad tracks, that terminus camp. I'd like to see what that's all about, and and I definitely would like to see them all get together. I mean, what are we, 4 episodes? We're 4 episodes shy.
Yeah.
We're 3 episodes shy of the final episode. So I would definitely like to see them all get together. Walking in here, we saw a brief cutaway to Maggie and her group. So it's it's leading on to exactly what we saw tonight. I just hope it's a little bit better action. I did like the interaction at the end. Beth and Daryl talking and trying to work things out. Because it was still kind of a weird thing, but at least you get a little backstory out of it.
For me, I want to see. I really want to see Tyrese and Carol. I want to see that interaction. I want to see the Michonne, Rick, and Carl walking towards the terminus. And I want to see Beth and Daryl start to find a little bit of hope that the others are still out there somehow.
Yeah.
I'd like to see that interaction, like all of a sudden, because they need that Faith Reborn thing. And here's the thing, like in the past year, we had a lot of good episodes that had these undertones from classic storylines. We have not had that this season. We have not had those great storylines that steal from the classics that we can kind of dig into, that if you're really into that stuff, you're seeing it. I know Kirkman's taken a different direction. He's got the movie going on with Norman. He's got the next spinoff with The Walking Dead. But to me, this is just we're going way too slow. The writers need to pick this up. And when we talked about this last week, we want to start seeing the choppy story bits of the different storylines.
Right.
Give us a little bit more. Say it all in a quicker amount. Give us to the next storyline, because I still want to see the Carol and Tyrese tension over, her killing them, or did she not kill them?
There needs to be a big bang.
Yes. Well, and we do know, just from the rumor mill and from the way the comic books went, Lizzie and her sister are the replacement for the boys in the comic book from the prison, and Lizzie's gonna go psycho. We already know she's going psycho.
She's gonna go psycho?
Yeah. Well, no, like
she's gonna maintain
the general
progress.
belief is that she's probably gonna start killing people within the group, and supposedly it's gonna be Carl who maybe shoots her and puts her down. But at the same time, I mean, we do need to speed this up. We've got 4 episodes left. There's 4 more weeks of what is going to happen, and what are we going to see, and what are we going to do. And if this is how it's going to drag, they're definitely going to lose viewers. We're going to lose viewers because we're not going to have anything to talk about.
Oh, we'll find something.
Right. Or something. Yeah, send us pictures. Send us angry letters. Send us something. But this is just...
We keep saying that. We never get an angry letter or an angry email. That would be kind of cool.
Yeah, we
could read it.
Tell us how bad you hate us tonight. That'd be great.
Yeah. Tell us.
Just not enough on the Facebook.
Because we haven't blocked anybody yet either. So.
Vinny doesn't want to see any more mullets. Oh, need more mullets? Yeah, we do need more mullets. And Joe Dirt, really, he's got to go. I want him to go fast. I really don't want his character to last. Abraham, I want to see more of. Definitely want to see more of that group. And yes, I do have a thing for Rosita. I freely admit it. But anyone who shows up in Daisy Dukes and double sidearms hanging off of her hips in the zombie apocalypse, I want her on my team.
Lara Croft.
Lara Croft.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm down with it. She's absolutely fantastic to look at. She's my new Andrea. We have not had eye candy since Andrea. The girls have had Rick and
that
Daryl.
Right there is death of a character. Alex likes her. Die.
She's dead.
Done.
She's dead.
What do we know about her? Dead.
Dead.
Why? Alex likes
She's
her.
gonna make her.
Alex picked her for his team.
Yep.
Yeah, but it's just been tough. So I don't know. Do we want to keep beating this up, or do we want to kind of let this one go tonight and wrap it up early and say thanks a lot?
Oh, it's got to be something else.
Sure, go ahead. Throw it out there.
I don't have anything else.
I don't have anything else. Jay, do you have anything else?
What exactly do you want to see happen between Carol and Tyrese?
He wants answers.
Well, what I want to see is I want to see that tension of he finds out Carol took the blame for it, but they're with Lizzie. And I'm telling you, I still think Lizzie killed them. So I want it to come out, and then Lizzie to say, no, it was me. And then Carol will be like, and Tyrese will want to kill her, but can't. She saved him. She's a little girl. And then he's going to regret later on not killing Lizzie because obviously she's psycho.
That would progress the story.
So that would totally progress the story. I so want to see something like that. But that's kind of it for me. Do we have anything else we want to throw out there? Don't forget us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. We're going to be on Yelp, Instagram. I think actually somebody was starting an Instagram for us. I don't know. I'm this episode's killing me, and I just want to put my head in the sand and hide.
You know, we covered the whole thing. I mean, they had a crappy little camp, and it seemed like they were moving on. The whole stuck in the trunk was kind of odd because
I bet that looks great in the comic book.
Oh, it probably does.
But
I mean, I liked it because they did a nice cutscene with it, and the light was coming through the edge of the trunk, and you had the thunderstorm and the rain. But they, you know, if we go back to Atlanta, Rick was in the tank, and all the walkers were around the tank, but they saw him go into the tank, so they didn't see them go into the car, so they kind of walked by. They did walk by on the interstate when you know, in season 2. So I don't know.
Our guest from last week, Cynthia, says, "What I learned tonight: get Daryl drunk, and you might become the next future Mrs. Dixon."
But he didn't show any real interest.
Yeah, and you know what? That's all right. We'll throw this around really quick. And I'm curious to see what the fans have to say. So if you're going to watch this later on in YouTube, jump in on this discussion. Why do fans want to see Daryl and Beth together? Beth is barely 18 at this point. Barely.
In the storyline.
In the
yes.
storyline.
You know,
in the storyline.
Why do you want her and Daryl to be together? I mean, come on. She went from flirting with Carl to killing, or basically being the Deathstroke to...
Two guys.
Two guys.
Black Widow and two guys.
She's Team Daryl.
Yeah.
She's all the fan
Why go to Daryl? I mean, everyone was so excited about Daryl and Carol, and now all of a sudden people want this. I'm like, ugh, come on. It borders on like, you know, just she's way too young for this.
But yet he let her have a drink.
Well, why not?
Why,
I mean, this is
why
the
not?
South,
I probably would too.
you know, why not? All right.
As Rick said in season 1, I don't think those rules apply anymore.
Yeah, I don't think those rules, he did say that. I don't think those rules apply anymore.
Well, you know, I'm sorry for what happened to you. We're going back to season 1. Can we go back to season 1? There was a lot more going
We had
on.
to.
Is Lori still dead?
Lori is still dead, yes. Lori's
Can we
dead.
play
Shane's
Alive or
dead.
Dead? That's what we'll do.
Yeah.
It's not like we don't know anything about the show, but if next week's show is a filler, we'll play Alive or Dead or Beth's drinking game. We'll just go down the list, you know? Shane, dead.
All right,
Lori?
so we'll wrap this one up. What did you learn tonight?
What did I write down? I don't know.
We'll come back to you. What did you learn tonight?
Daryl still has tremendous guilt over all these people that he thinks he could have or should have helped. I never really got that feeling until, you know, him and Beth had that argument, and to see him break down like that, it's nice to see a little humanity in him. But you know, I was for a while saying that Michonne was a bit loose screwed, and I still believe
Well,
that.
she even
but-
admitted it. She
Right.
said she sees dead people like Rick. So
No, I know, but I'm seeing a little bit of that in Daryl with the whole little chokehold that he put on Beth and everything else. It's like,
Did you remember what you learned tonight?
I did remember what I learned tonight.
What'd
It
you
wasn't from the show because it was boring. It was in the other room while we were watching the show. Did you know Paul Walker's dead?
Yeah, Jay, did you know?
Jay, did you know Paul Walker's
Yeah,
dead?
but,
yes, I did.
Paul Walker is now a Walking Dead.
Paul Walker dead.
Line of
For
the
me,
night.
what I
Walking
learned
Dead.
tonight.
Yeah, line of the night. Dude, you know Paul Walker was dead? Jason McCarthy, quote.
For me, what
That's
I learned.
German, if you don't know.
Yeah, there we go.
For me, what I
Fragile.
learned tonight is that our show is dragging. It desperately needs to kind of revamp and get things going and keep the core fans that came in going. I don't see how this is going to keep the new fans, and it's going to burn the bridges with the older fans. And I think we need to move on with that. And the other thing I learned is that apparently Jason is getting fashion tips from Esquire magazine. He's looking quite dapper tonight. So I'm actually kind of a little excited. It's been a long time. So, and I think I just shocked somebody in the control room.
Yeah.
Or that could be his daughter in the other room. I'm not sure which. But it is what it is. It's love, and don't be ashamed of it.
Here's a
Got him!
got him.
Got him! I got a whole lot of people
Time
with
is
that.
it?
Here's a.
It's time for us to go.
Here's time for ghosts. Real quick online, we got what did I learn tonight from Billy Camperides, friend of mine. He'll see this tomorrow. What I learned tonight: Beth is an annoying drunk as well as sober.
Yes, Billy,
That's
you
good.
are
That is
correct.
true, Billy. Very good. Very good.
Very,
sir.
very good. All right, well, on behalf of my partners in crime here, Keith O'Brien, Jason McCarthy, I am Alex Mann. Thank you for joining us here on the Walking Dead Support Group. We apologize, we're such a sleeper. We hope we kind of jazzed it up a little bit for you. Sorry it's so short, but really, there's a dead horse. Rick was riding it, so why should we keep kicking it? Have a great night. Thanks for joining us.
Good night.
Night.